Hey, and welcome back to your daily dungeon. Last time we had our intrepid adventurers almost publicly executed, and I'm pretty sure we had our gnome beaten within an inch of his life, and I think our resident elf might have a concussion. Oh, they're fine.
Something like that.
He'll be fine.
But they were dragged back into this monstrous keep in the downtown of Cordis, the capital city of the empire, and they're now facing off against what appears to be a massive knight in this dark armor, and they're set to make their escape. What will happen? Find out now in your daily dungeon. So, we're back, adventurers, and now we've got the issue of a man who's just entered into the arena, and he looks like he's more than happy to chase after you guys, and while the mysterious figure looks to be very urging that you just run.
Alright, well, how are we going to get out of here if we're trying to get out? If we're trying to leave? Is there like a ladder around here, or do I see a ladder?
I would recommend probably trying the way you came in. Would be the best bet.
So running.
Yeah, if I see an
Run.
Alright, so run. We're running.
Is your character?
All right. So you guys turn and start running. None of you are heavily armored or anything like that, and I don't believe any of you have any kind of advantage on speeds, like a wood elf might. I think you do, actually.
Yep,
Davros,
I
you are a
have-
wood elf, yes?
Yeah, I have 35-foot base speed.
All right, so Davros, in this instance, that you start leading the charge as you are faster than everybody else, unless you intentionally slow yourself, so that somebody who's a little more beefy can be in
I
front of
hop
you.
on your back, Davros.
I'm going to yell.
I
me,
make
know
sure
it's
I'm like setting the pace basically, but I make sure I don't leave anybody behind. But
Davros,
yeah,
do
I
you-
want to be setting the pace.
Davros, are you okay with Deidre climbing up on your backside?
About like, is he heavy?
I'm like 30.
What do you weigh, like...
No, I think I'm. Let me check my. Thing. I think I'm like.
38 pounds is pretty tiny, even for a gnome.
Yeah. I think I'm like 42. Yeah, that's right.
Still pretty tiny. It's like carrying.
as long as it
it's
doesn't
like carrying one
inhibit
of those
me.
big bags of potatoes you see sitting around on the ground at Five Guys.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't inhibit me, yeah, I'm fine with it.
It might marginally slow you down, which might be what you need.
It'll
Yeah,
just bring him back down to 30.
As long as I don't start falling behind because of it, I'm fine.
Sweet.
Okay. All right. So you guys start running, and you notice that the knight that landed in the courtyard goes to start running after you guys, and you see the mysterious figure take the blade of his longsword, dig it into the mud, and slash the mud up, and the mud flings up into the air before solidifying into what looks to be like stone. There's now what looks to be like a curved, almost wave-like of stone, now shaped into the ground in front of this knight. You see the knight's blade plunge through the stone instantly, and explode part of the wall that was just forcefully made. The mysterious figure turns and runs behind you guys.
I'm going to yell at everybody to follow me. I know a safe place, and start leading everybody towards my church.
I follow him.
I mean, no, I'm on top of Swig, so I mean.
Church? I feel like I will
My
not.
church is in the next town over.
I feel like I will not be
so-
accepted in a church.
You guys
Don't worry, they
run
need
up
you.
to the first gate of the keep, and see that it has been left open since when you last passed through. And you guys get into the little portcullis area, running along that cobblestone path. The rain has slicked the path, but otherwise you guys have sure footing as you run around the next corner. Get up to that main gate, and you see a guard running along the rooftop. Not rooftop, along the bastion, towards the guardhouse. And you hear the mysterious figure behind say, "No! Take him down! Take him down!"
I
pointing
shoot
up at the
him.
guy on the... Alright, you
I
only have a finite amount of arrows. You're only able to scalp 5 from that body.
Okay.
Do you want to use one?
Yes.
Yeah, I just start yelling at
Alright,
DJ
roll
to
to hit.
shoot him.
All right.
Is there
No.
like a bunch of guards like grouped together?
No, it's like one guard running across the bastion.
I rolled a 7.
Can I
7 total. Your arrow hits the stone and skips off of it.
make a shot at him with an Eldritch Blast?
Yes, go ahead. Were you also thinking of doing a spell, Mel?
Yes, I want to cast Ray of Sickness.
That was a 6.
All right. Your Eldritch Blast hits the precipice of the battlements and chunks a part of the stone, and it collapses on the ground at the base of the courtyard in front of you guys. You cast Ray of Sickness. He will roll a save.
All right, well, hold up. It might not hit him. I rolled an 11.
God, y'all those shittiest people in the group.
Yeah, your Ray misses him.
Can I throw my
I'm
battle?
just gonna-
Jesus Christ!
No,
Would you
I'm-
like to? Would you like to throw your battle axe?
I'm almost tempted to. You guys suck.
No, I am going to just sigh, shake my head, and cast Inflict Wounds.
Roll damage.
I roll a 24 to hit.
Uh,
I'm guessing that
24
hits.
hits.
Is that a
That
touch?
hits. Roll damage.
Nah, it's a spell attack.
Yeah, but is it touch? What's the range?
Oh wait, it is touch. Never
Oh,
mind.
he's within range. It's only like 60 feet. He's not that high up.
Okay,
It's
so,
touch.
It's touch based.
Touch him?
Yeah, touch range.
You guys useless holds up his hand. I'm useless.
God. Okay. Chill touch. Chill touch.
As all this is going on, Nadar is just like trying to lay on the speed and get ahead of all of them. Like Jesus Christ!
Yeah, everyone slow
Nope.
down.
I make
Nadar-
sure I stay in front.
I'm
All
trying
right,
hard
so
to get.
everyone's kind of slowed down and is like running at like their normal movement speed of like 30 feet a second or so. You slowed down to fire. Nadar, you barely clear the gate beside of Davros as it slams shut behind you guys,
Oh man, that's not.
and you turn around and notice that the other ones are behind the gate. You see the mysterious figure look at you two, and he says, "Head to the end." And he reaches into his pocket and he hands you a letter.
Snatch it.
Head to the. He hands it to us.
Right. I go up and I snatch it.
You're behind the gate.
Mel-
Yeah, you're on the
Yeah,
other
it's on the
side.
gate,
What did
Mel.
Side of the gate.
Head to the what?
Rip.
Head to this end.
What's it say? What end does it say?
You don't have it.
What?
You're behind the gate.
Who's behind the gate?
He stuck his arm.
Everybody
He stuck his
except
arm
me and
through the
Davros.
gate. He stuck his arm through the gate holes, and the door swipes it out of his hand.
All right. I grab Davros and I'm like, come on, and we just take off running.
We're still inside here.
Yep, you're fucked.
The mysterious
Going-
figure flicks his blade and says aloud in Draconic a word. Who speaks Draconic by him?
Me.
Oh, it's y'all.
I do
Wait,
not.
do I hear it though?
I hear that. I know.
So, Watt, Davros, you?
Nope.
All right. So, Nadar hears it as you are running off. Davros hears it but doesn't know what he means. Everyone that speaks Draconic, you hear him say, "Light," and his blade bursts into flames. And he slings it and he hits the wrought iron gate and starts to slide the blade through the metal, working very slowly. You hear the sounds of iron cauterizing and bubbling and melting really rapidly as he starts to slide the blade
That's
through
metal.
through the wrong. It was metal.
Which is that going on?
Um,
Davros not still there, or do we take?
By the way, Swank,
Oh, right.
yeah,
That's all.
you guys are running down the cobblestone path to the street.
So DJ is with
What,
him, right?
Dijo?
nothing.
Yeah, DJ is with him.
I just translated it for you.
Oh, thank you.
So it's just
so
me,
we've got-
Watt, and Mel.
we've got-
right?
Yeah, you, Watt, and Mel, and the mysterious stranger.
Yes, mysterious stranger. Yeah. I turn to the mysterious stranger and is like, my sword's special too. You.
Makes his own sound effects.
As the guards are bearing down on y'all.
Ian, this it's like a metal gate that closed down on us.
hmm
Okay.
No, it's like a bubble gate.
So, outside and around the corner, you guys hear the sounds of guards shuffling over, and you see them around the corner in a phalanx. You see 5 guards with square shields made of wood, and they're lightly armored around the corner. Bear in mind that you are not armored yourselves, just wearing your burlap sack cloths or other things of that nature.
So
Prison
what would our
clothing,
AC
really.
be?
You don't really even have shoes on. You just have foot wraps.
Should we like ditch our weapons, or should we like duck into an?
You have your weapons. You just don't have your armor.
Yeah, no, I'm saying should we ditch them to be like, oh no, we're just normal citizens, or like just like.
There's absolutely zero convincing them that you're not
Oh yeah.
the
We
people
were-
that should be
we're all-
executed.
All right. Do we see like a place to like duck off the main road? Like they're ahead of us, right?
So Nadar and Davros, you're actually good. You've escaped. You guys can make a beeline for the inn. People aren't going to stop you and question you in the streets. You're carrying weapons. They're drawn, so you don't really have any place to sheath your weapons anyway if you wanted to. So
Yeah, I'll head to the end, like, and I'll hand Davros the letter and be like, what does it say? As I
Is
hand
it in a language I can read?
That's a good question.
yeah, it's written in common.
Yeah, I'll hand it to you.
Oh.
I keep like kind of keeping an eye out as we head towards, like, I don't know where we're heading yet, so whatever. I'm just gonna keep an eye.
So you have to fight off a couple of guards at the base of the cobblestone path, Nadar, but you're actually able to fend them off pretty easily. They weren't prepared for you guys, and you
Well-
caught them off guard when you ran down the hill.
And when I put my axe on their necks.
You do just that. You
I'm-
brutally murdered 2 citizens doing their job. Good for you.
Hey, dude. Shit happens. I got accused of trying to murder the emperor, so you know what? It's a shit day for everybody.
Wrong.
So you open up the letter as you're running away.
I handed.
Davros?
Yeah.
Yeah, Davros, you open up the letter.
I mean, yeah.
So you open up the letter, and inside of it, you see a small picture of a man and a letter handwritten in ink as the rain splashes down on it, and it kind of starts to smear the page a little bit, but you get the gist of the message before the rain completely ruins it. You get the name of the inn, which is the Pond Prawn.
Oh,
I hate that.
Spell that like just pond.
The Pond.
Prawn.
Yes, the
Like,
Pond.
nothing
Prawn.
unusual about it.
catch me out.
Nope. Other than the cat's meow. Other than the fact that it's an alliteration.
Cat's meow. Now that's a tavern right there. It went down. Tavern.
And you recognize the tavern is actually farther in the city.
All right, I'll. Davros, do you tell me that's what it says?
Hey, yeah.
Uh,
Is there anything
yeah.
on it?
Do you recognize the picture of the guy? Do either one of us recognize that?
Yes. Actually, Davros, you look down on it and you notice that this is actually a member of a guild that you're associated with. You remember the name of the guild, Davros?
Yeah, the Amber Star, right?
Correct. The guild is directly associated with the Amber Star, and this particular tavern is owned and operated by a former guild member.
You tell
The
me.
guild member's name is Divish.
Relatively close to, or is it just someone I recognize?
He's an associate of yours. That's about it. You don't
Yeah.
personally know him. He's just an associate that you've worked with before.
Like, yeah, I mean, but I recognize him.
Who
Hey,
is?
that's enough for me.
His name's Divish. He's this part of this old guild I used to associate with, and still do sometimes.
What guild is it? What kind of guild is it?
It's the Amber Star. It's a mercenary guild.
All right, I'm assuming they're friendly.
We can only hope.
Out of character, you would know that the Amber Star is actually notorious for working with the resistance forces here.
Well, I mean, it's our only option. So, like, they're not gonna get out by themselves. We barely got out, so we need to. Whoever can help, we gotta like enlist them, I guess, or get there.
Yeah.
I'll let you take the lead on this.
Yep. So what's a good way to get back in? to the city since we got shut off?
No, so the keep is basically secluded from the rest of the city in the sense that like you come off of a path that leads off the main road. You guys have run down that path back onto the main road that goes through the city, so you guys can actually run back like across the bridge that you guys crossed over back into the main city area.
Oh, cool.
The
Never
city
mind
is
then.
split. The city is split into 3 sections. There is the outer exterior wall that is actually on the mainland, and consists of kind of like the impoverished district as well as like the exterior mercantile district that deals with fruits and foods and produce and other various like living necessities, while the inner mercantile district is more of like goods and services. And
Okay.
this tavern is inside the inner guild district, which is like just on the edge of the water. There's an island in the center of the river that exits out into the ocean. Does that make sense? So there's like basically, if you were to look at it like it was like a big circle, or not really even a circle. Let's do. There's a crescent moon, and there is like a little stick, not a little stick, but a big stick. We can call a big stick that connects to a circle, and then another stick that connects to a reverse crescent moon, and that's what the city looks like.
Okay, I think
The center
it.
circle. The center circle is the citadel, and is like where the emperor resides and stuff like that. That is an island in the middle of the river, a rather large island at that. But it's a really, really huge river. Like imagine like the Mississippi River in real life, but double the size.
Okay, so it's kind of separated by this river in the center of the city.
Mm-hmm. And you guys
Okay.
crossed over that bridge, and basically what you have to do is that if you're on the top crescent moon, up in the corner near one of the points, you're traveling down right to where that bridge is, and the mercantile district you're going to is just on the opposite side of that bridge.
All right,
All right, well, let's go.
we need to make haste.
Okay. Yeah, you guys don't dilly-dally. You guys get there in about 20 minutes or so. Absolutely no time at all as far as like running goes across the city. What I'm going to do though is that you guys are going to receive 2 levels of exhaustion while doing so. So you'll be pretty tired by the time you get there. You'll need a rest.
Ooh.
Okay, a quick refresher. How does exhaustion?
So the actual status of exhaustion, like I said, is a status. And I'll actually pull it up and describe it to you. Exhaustion has various negative effects for those of you who don't know. And it starts off pretty small, but can quite literally lead to death in a very
good.
fun way.
Yeah, what is it, like 5 levels of exhaustion?
Well, these-
5 or 6.
I think it's 6.
6?
I'll let me pull it up real quick. I believe it's
How do you get to
6.
the point
but-
where like you can't move. You have to be carried.
Wait, I'm still on top of you, right?
Gotten down.
Alright,
No, I totally would have let you off once we got once we settled down a little.
Started reading the note.
Yeah.
All right, get off, DJ.
While I'm flipping through this, I'm going to continue on with what's going on in the actual jail still. Okay, guys?
Okay.
Yay.
So, what you come across in the jail is that those guards that I told you about that were running into the room, they enter in, and they begin to aggress on you guys. I'm going to ask that you roll initiative.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's about
Let's
time.
do this.
Yes.
Let me
Roll
see.
initiative. The first combat of the actual game.
16.
But is that for us
16,
as
huh?
well?
No.
Nope, just us in the prison still.
Yeah, just the guys in the jail cell.
Got it.
Dar, Dijo, and Davros made it out without any issue.
Nice.
Because we're epic.
No,
I'm just
because
kinda
you guys decided to just gun through the door there.
Yeah, we weren't going to take
Uh,
miss.
so what do we got here?
16.
15.
16. What?
For me.
What'd you get? What'd you get? What?
11 for what?
11. For what?
11. So 16, 15, and 11. And then the guards got... Ooh, the guards got 5.
Hell yeah. Okay, so there's...
All right.
Good.
So they're about 15 feet away from you. Amnon, I think, is the one who goes first, or is it... No, it's...
No, I got 16, right?
Yeah, Amnon, and then Mel,
What about the stranger?
and then Watt. The stranger is cutting his way out for you guys. He will not be participating in combat. Unless you want him to stop, you can ask him to stop.
Nope. He can keep going.
He can keep doing his job there.
He says it's going to take him roughly 20 seconds or so. So you just have to make it, what's
Basically
that?
4 rounds.
That's roughly 3
4
rounds.
rounds. 3.5 rounds.
Yeah, a little less than 4 rounds. It'll be halfway through the 4th round is when he'll finish.
Okay, so there are 5 guards that are coming at us.
Yes, there are 5 guards.
Okay, I am going to cast Eldritch Blast at the middle guard.
All right, so and they're in a phalanx. So basically, they're just there's a pointed tip. They're an arrowhead, basically phalanx.
Natural
You're
20.
firing at the tip. Nat 20, first crit of the. Yes, excellent,
Hell yeah.
awesome. Roll damage.
Cool.
That's how you
That's
start out
2d10.
D&D.
Cool. 2d10 and then plus my spell attack bonus, right?
Yes. So on a critical hit, you double your damage for the weapon you do. And what we're going to be doing is we roll twice the amount of die instead of rolling 1 die and doubling it.
2d10. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Additionally,
2d10.
for those of you who don't know, this is actually a bit of a house ruling. I think a lot of people do it differently. But critical hits on a nat 20, or if indicated otherwise, sometimes classes let you do something different. But on a critical hit, a lot of people like to either double the damage that is rolled off of 1 die or roll 2 different die. What I'll be doing is I roll 2 die, and then I also will be doubling the modifier that deals the damage.
Okay.
So basically, if you have a +2 from your strength or your charisma, in this case, I believe, you will add that in addition to it. Actually, I don't think that your Eldritch Blast gets that extra modifier yet, but your weapons do.
So what am I rolling exactly then? So I
A 2d10.
2d10, and then
Yep,
that's it.
That's it.
Okay, so
Yep.
that's 4 damage.
4 damage to that guard.
Ooh.
Let's see.
Good use of that critical.
Solid crit.
4 damage. So you blast this guard in the head. He screams in pain and lurches back, dropping to a knee. His shield hits the ground and slides across the pavement, across the cobblestone. Excuse me. It lands roughly 5 feet from you, Watt.
Cool.
You guys see
Oh,
that his
neat.
head is
Can I pick it
smoking,
up?
but he looks like he's still standing. Yes, you may pick it up on your turn.
That's the end of my turn.
Oh wait, I have a 2-handed weapon anyway. Never mind.
All right, Amnon, would you like to stay where you're standing, or would you like to move farther away, or what? You're roughly 15 feet away right now.
I'm gonna take a 5-step back. I'm gonna take about 5 steps back, or 5 feet back.
All right, yeah. So you just take a quick jump back. Okay. So, Mel, it is your turn. You're standing roughly right beside him at the mouth of the gate. The courtyard, which is kind of like a big, let's say, you know the shape of Nevada? It's kind of like that flat edge up against California, and then like a pointed arrow tip coming down from the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's shaped like that with like a big flat side, and then a wall that runs down diagonally from that flat side, coming to a point, and then it runs back up diagonally before coming a line at the very top, back over. The guards are coming from the left side of the courtyard, which you are facing, and the gate is to your right.
Okay. And you said they were coming like spearhead formation.
They were in a spearhead formation. The guy in the middle got blasted back, so the middle of the spear has been destroyed. He's not dead. He got pushed back.
Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna go run up to them. You said they're 15 feet away?
Yes.
Okay. Run up. 10 feet. All right, run up
10 feet.
Yeah, so there's still 5 feet between us. And burning hands.
Oh, get him in a cone, huh?
Get him in a cone. 15.
All right. That's just saving throws from them, is it not? You have to roll attack.
That'll be dexterity saving throws from everybody affected. So 15 feet out from me. So all the people that are 10 feet and 15 feet.
The first 3 fail, and the last 2 pass.
Okay. Let me roll the damage. What were the passes? What'd they roll?
20 and a 20.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind. My save is 13.
Everybody else rolled below 10. Those guys rolled nat 18s.
13 damage total. So if they passed, half that, which would be 6.
6. You kill 4 guards.
Jesus.
And I'm gonna go ahead and take the rest of my movement back.
All right. So the guards have pole arms and are going to take an opportunity. Well, the last one that's alive is going to take an opportunity attack at you.
Bring it.
12 plus 5 is 17. You are wearing no armor. It is just your dexterity modifier.
No, he hits. I have 12.
So you take a D10 of damage. You take 4 points of damage total, Mel, as he stabs you in the shoulder as you attempt to back away from him.
All right. That took a large chunk of my health.
Yeah.
All right.
The troubles of being a wizard.
The sad life we live. Okay. Yeah. No, I take the rest of my movement back and in my turn.
All right, Watt, it is your turn. You just saw your wizard get stabbed through the shoulder.
Does he look like he's dying? How badly is he hurt?
He looks like he's got a very serious wound, and he's clutching it in pain as he backs up, wincing.
I'm a bit bloody.
Okay.
I'm a bit bloody.
Yeah, you notice that as he's stepping back, it's so bad that the blood is actually pouring onto the pavement and kind of running down the cobblestone.
Cool. Then as he backs past me, to cure wounds on him, which is D8 plus 3. So it'll be 5 health back to him.
Awesome. That's like all the damage you took, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then bonus action, I'm going to cast Shield of Faith on myself.
Also, that's an increase to your armor class, correct?
Yes.
Yes, it is. All right.
And I'm staying where I am and just kind of readying my weapon to hold him back.
Alrighty. Oh, it is now the guard's turn. The guard is going to finish his approach, and he's going to attack Amnon.
Okay.
12 hit.
What are we saying for AC right now?
It is just your dexterity modifier. So 10 plus your dex.
I'm gonna go ahead because that doesn't fail or gel with what I've got. I'm gonna go ahead and cast Shield as a reaction. That's my level 1 spell for the day.
So you throw up his shield, and his blade, instead of striking you, hits a mystical force. And he looks surprised and shocked as he cries out, "Heathen! Magic user!"
Yeah.
In this same turn,
Heard that before.
Not me.
in this same turn, you see several guards pour out of the guardhouse above you guys, above the gate. You see 3 guards, which actually I think is exactly several, as far as like the use of that word goes. They're all pretty
after
light
a couple.
wearing...
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. You see several guards pour out wearing light armor and wielding short bows, and they're going to fire down on the group. Let's see, 13 to hit Watt.
Yeah, that hits.
10 to hit Mel, which is a fail, I think. And a 15 to hit Amnon.
Since I casted shield, it says it lasts until until the start of the next turn. So does that mean
Does the
that
15 injure you? Does the 15 hit?
Add that 5 into my 10 plus my dexterity. That's at 16. So no, it does not.
All right, so he misses you. So Watt, you just take 1 point of damage.
Ooh, okay, good.
An arrow fires down, and one lands at your foot, Mel, and misses you barely. Watt, one comes down and hits you in the shoulder, nicking you, not sticking into you actually, and straight up Amnon, an arrow strikes you in the shoulder and shatters on your mystical shield, the shaft splintering on the all over the places next to you.
At least.
Round 2, top of the order, Amnon.
All right. So what's the situation looking like right now?
And 3 up on the bastion.
One guy.
There's 1 guard alive in front of you, and then 3 guards up on the bastion in front of on the garrison wall.
Okay. I'm gonna. How far is the guy in front of me?
The guy in front of you is roughly. He didn't move, so he's. He did move. He took a couple steps forward to attack you, so he's about 10 feet from you.
10 feet from me. I'm just gonna walk up to him and hit him with my scimitar.
All right, roll to hit.
11 plus 3. So 14.
That's a hit. Roll damage. You will kill him no matter what.
Actually, it was more. It was more than that, but 1d6. So 4 points of damage.
Yes, he dies. Your conjure weapon strikes his shield, splintering it in half, and slicing him down the shoulder. He cries out in pain as he drops to a knee and pleads for his life one last time as you take that swing.
If it was somebody else, maybe. But you've been kind of a dick, so.
As your blade frees itself from the shoulder, his helmet falls off his head, and you recognize the guard that was trying to file your horn off.
Oh, file this bitch.
It's Mel's turn.
I'm gonna take like a few feet back, step like a few feet back, and I'm gonna cast Blade Ward on myself.
It's a bonus action, I think, right? Or no, it's a full action.
That is a full action. It's just I think it's just resistance to bludgeoning and slashing damage. So
Sounds good. Yeah. All right, Watt, it's your turn. There's still a shield. There's a shield at your feet, and there's a couple of people that are, I think, no one's seriously injured, and there's 3 guards up on the parapet above you.
Is there any guards left down here?
No, there are no guards in the courtyard with you currently. Mel did a pretty good job of mopping up all the guards that were on the ground level.
That's because wizards are awesome.
Cool. I'm going to attempt to one of them up there. So, would that just be a strength roll or what?
So you're trying to throw it like a javelin?
Yeah, basically. Spear one of them.
It would be.
You said they're only 60 feet up, right?
It'd be a regular attack roll with your strength, but no proficiency.
19.
What'd you roll?
16, and then strength is +3.
All right, so yeah, you hit him.
Total.
Yeah, you hurl that halberd up. Roll damage. It'll be still the 1d10.
Right. 8 damage.
Wow. Yeah, you kill him. You hit him right in the chest with the halberd. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah. So he falls off the tower and lands on the ground with the halberd point straighting down. So he hits the ground and the halberd standing straight up. The metal pole bends and on his weight, destroying the handle of the halberd, making it unusable. but otherwise he dies.
Okay. And the guards that Amnon just killed, they had other halberds, right?
Yes. Do you want to pick up the
I'm gonna
shield or do
pick
you want to
up
pick
one
up the
of those.
halberd?
Can I pick up both?
No, you may use a bonus action to pick up one or the other.
The shield, then. And then
All
pull
right,
out my
add
dagger.
2 to your armor class.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll allow you to unsheath 2 daggers as well. The same action. That is fine. All right, it is the guard's turn. There are 2 archers left. One's going to critically fail.
Solid.
He leans over the parapet.
All right.
And it is the location that Amnon fired an Eldritch Blast and destroyed. The stone beneath his foot crumbles as he missteps and plummets almost 50 feet down.
It's probably his first day.
He takes. No, he's a week from retirement, man. You gotta know this thing. He takes 5d10 damage of falling damage, or 5d6. Excuse me. So that's 11.
I was going to say D10. Jesus
plus
Christ.
9's 20. 22. He takes 22 points of damage. He plummets, hits the ground, snaps his neck. You hear the sounds of screaming and the sounds of like a man falling from the parapet. He hits the ground with a wet splash as in the grass.
You see, that's what
The
happens when you
snapping
fuck
of his
with
neck
us.
is audible. The man hits the ground and remains silent. You notice that his bow lands on the ground, undamaged.
Neat.
The other guard's gonna fire. Nat 20.
Who's dying?
Two ends of the spectrum.
Amnon, after being taunted, that guard fires at you.
Of course he does.
You take 8 points of damage, Amnon.
Whoo!
Is he down?
Amnon, are you standing still?
I am. I have got 2 health.
The arrow sails through the air and hits you straight in the ribs, punching through your little shirt, and you feel one of your ribs get nicked as you kind of like lash out in pain. The guard looks at you and he says, "You'll die for that, demon!"
Ugh. Demon this, demon that. Fuck you, man.
I mean,
All right, Amnon, it's your turn. Start around 3.
Alright. Alright. Let's see. Let's see. I am going to, I'm going to cast Chill Touch at that fucker that just shot me.
All right, roll to hit.
17. Or no, 17
That's a
plus
hit.
5, 22.
Roll. That's a hit. Roll
So-
damage.
That's just 1d8, no adding of my spell attack modifier or anything.
Nope, just one. No, then it's a D10. Wait, you rolled.
Chill
You
Touch
cast
is
Eldritch Blast, right?
Chill Touch.
Oh yeah, it's a D8. Yeah, then it's just the D10.
Alright, that is 1 point of necrotic damage.
Okay. Mel, it's your turn. Your Blade Ward has ended, I believe. It only lasts a round.
correct.
Well, actually, technically, it ends when my turn ends, but it doesn't really matter. The one that I saw Amnon cast Chill Touch on, I'm gonna cast. No, I'm gonna cast Toll the Dead.
Oh yeah.
So he actually big echoing boom. Bell.
As a
sound.
bell rings.
Yeah, the bell rings. He needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, in that case, it's a 12. He fails.
Oh yeah, and he already took damage. So instead of a D8, I get to roll a D12, and takes 9 necrotic damage.
What do you say?
9 necrotic damage.
Oh yeah, he dies. He screams in pain as a deathly echo rings through the courtyard, and the guy kind of like takes a step and slips on that same rock that Amnon shot and falls to his death. The bell rings, and right as he falls, you see the stranger slide his blade clean of the gate and kicks it through. And you hear the sounds of plate metal stepping on cobblestone behind you. You guys turn and you see the knight standing there, and he tilts his head as the black smoke billows from his helmet. He says, "You rang."
Great.
He locks eyes with you, Mel. I need a wisdom save.
For me?
Yes, from Mel.
Oh, okay. At least wisdom's. It's one of my good saves. All right,
I hope so.
let's see how this goes.
That's what everyone says right before they natural one.
Nat 20.
Or
Nat 20.
a nat 20.
Nat 20.
That works too.
Witness here. I can prove it. Nat 20.
So,
That's not nat.
Mel, you can tell that this man is trying to absolutely terrify you. And while you do not feel particularly confident around him, you don't feel like he's actually scared you. You just feel really disconcerted by him.
Ooh, you so scary.
Says the man who's kind of disconcerted.
He actually is kind of scary.
The stranger grabs you by the collar and says, "Run!"
Fine. Okay. Let's go.
All right.
As you guys turn to run, the knight holds up his hand, and you see several blasts of energy smash into the gate and cause the actual gate to start to crumble and fall. You hear guards still inside the house above you scream as they plummet through the gate, plummet through the holes that he made. You guys narrowly avoid the stones falling down and destroying the cobblestone pathway, and you see guards screaming and plummeting through the air, being crushed by stone. The rain begins to pour as you guys run down the streets, and the mysterious stranger turns and says, "Come, I know the way." And he starts running through the streets.
He knows
urging
the
you to
way.
follow him.
Yeah.
He knows the way.
Let's go.
Thought that meme died in January.
Following him.
So, you guys run through the streets, and eventually you'll make it to the tavern. But let's switch over to the other two who have been running and have already made it there. You guys run up upon the streets, and this is a nice town. Very beautifully crafted with like large wooden houses made of fine oak and yew, and you being the tree, not you as in yourself. And you see the
Thanks for the
houses all
clarification.
actually have. Yeah, I mean, actually, it is a valid thing to mention. And you see all these houses have like actual roofing tiles made from like that clay or like the actual like porcelain tiles that you would see in Florence almost.
Ooh.
It's not like actual thatch roofing here. And as you guys running through the streets, you see like actual street lamps with like magic fire lighting the afternoon, even though it's early. Well, it's early in the morning still. It's roughly 9:30. You guys come up across a beautifully ornate tavern. Imagine a tavern with kind of like bell end roof that kind of like bows out and has a couple of like hooked endings on each corner of the roofing. And on each of these hooked things, on each of these hooked ends of the roofing, you see beautifully ornate dragons carved into the wood.
Ooh.
Closing the doors and like admiring
The tavern has a very large lantern hanging from it, and you see the name of the tavern, the Pawn Prawn, is lit by this lantern. The lantern is an oil lantern, not a magical one. The tavern sign has what looks to be like a symbol of an 8-ball. It looks like the game Pool 8-ball.
And you said this is the Pawn Prawn?
It is, yes.
All right, well, let's do this.
Neat.
So, you approach the tavern. And this beautiful tavern is in the absolute best of care. It looks to be like it was built just yesterday. The wood is finely polished, and the rain hits it and slicks off of it, and you can watch it trace down the tavern. The smell of cinnamon strikes your nose, and you can taste it in the air as the fresh baking is currently occurring inside. You see a group of people standing around outside, smoking as smoke curls through the air around them. Excuse me. They sit in chairs outside underneath the covered awning of the porch of the tavern. As you approach, one
Do
of them
any of them
stands
look
up.
like my friend?
No. As you approach, one stands up, an elderly dragonborn. His frills sag with age. His eyes still burn brightly with a tempered and even like glance. He looks at you and he kind of takes the pipe out of his mouth and puffs some smoke. A little bit of fire actually comes out of his mouth when he does so, and he says, "Oh, well, look who it is." He sighs, looking at the dragonborn. "I saw your face up there on the orb." He motions to the orb that can still be seen in the distance. He says, "Honestly, I thought that was a good show. You did well for yourselves. Honestly, I was expecting you to be dead within the first 5 minutes, but here you are showing up on our doorstep as scheduled."
As scheduled, you said? Well, what do you mean by that?
And he says, "Yes, Master Akavir did not tell you."
No, Master who?
Akavir, the individual that saved you.
Yeah, we didn't catch his name.
Yeah, we didn't get that far.
Yeah, we didn't catch his name. I didn't.
Looks like a straight.
He,
I thought
Just playing?
He
I just
so he
hadn't
stands
heard
up
it, but okay.
from his chair. He stands up from his chair, and he walks over to the door, and he turns the knob and opens the door for you, and he says, "Well, come in. Come in. You're safe here."
And as we enter the door, I'm gonna, like I said before, Nadar admires the dragon carvings on either side of the door. He just takes a quick glance at the two and admires them, and then walks in and quickly asks, "Was all this planned? What does everybody know that we don't know? We don't remember anything about the last day or so."
He looks at you and kind of squints his eyes and says, "You'll have to talk to the innkeeper, Mr. Divish. He'll probably be able to give you some interesting information, to say the least."
Time to run around and play games right now. Our companions are still trapped in the keep. We were told by Master whatever to come here with the letter that Davros has.
I pull out the letter.
The old dragonborn reaches forward and accepts it and looks at it and glances at the human sitting at the other chair, and says, "Look, read in Draconic." The human takes it without replying, reads it, and kind of glances up at you guys, and folds the letter back closed and hands it back to you, Davros.
I take it back from him.
He says, "It's been a long time since we've seen an elf before."
I just kind of wave.
I'm just hi, do I count?
I mean, you're not there, but
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Right.
I thought we all got there.
no, not yet. This is like a flashback, but it's like present time for them, a flashback for you guys.
This is what's going on while y'all are doing that combat.
Gotcha.
Correct, Mundo. So, he opens the door, and you both are instantly greeted by the smell of that cinnamon again, only this time much stronger, as well as a slight sweet smell of chocolate and honey. You guys see, sitting in the tavern, a host of people eating their breakfasts. This tavern is packed full. There is a bottom floor that has roughly 32 tables across the front end of it. And you see steps going down to like a little pulpit almost that is separate from the actual first floor. that has an additional seating area, and then steps that lead up directly adjacent to that, in the same little square area. So basically, you've got like the front little like square area with steps on the right side going down to like a lower seating area, and then steps adjacent to that, in the on that same side of the tavern leading up. They're basically just like if you're looking at like it's a square, like a big square. The square is cut in half, and then there's like an upside down T, and like on the right side of that upside down T is like the lower area, and on the upside, on the left side of it is the higher area. In that higher area, you see the actual like bar for the inn.
I ask Davros and that it's Nadir, right?
Dar.
Nadar.
I ask if they would like to have some breakfast before we move on.
You cut out. What was that?
I asked if you guys want to have
He was
some
asking.
breakfast before we move on.
No, like we don't have time for this.
Yeah.
Like I would love to eat right now. It smells freaking delicious, but they're probably gonna be dead if we sit here and eat.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on.
The elderly dragonborn looks at you and sets his hand on your shoulder, Nadar, and he says, "There will be time for this urgency you have, but you are safe here. Your friends are already on their way. They'll be here shortly."
How does everybody know what's gonna happen and we can't already happen?
He motions to the table, and you see several orbs sitting on each table. Well, several orbs sitting so each table has an orb, almost like a television. And you see the group of people running through the streets.
It's clearly them.
Yeah, he's like, that is how I know. And he pops the pipe back into his mouth.
Where can I get one of those?
Nadar is getting so frustrated. Like it's just everything's orchestrated, and we're just don't fucking shit.
He says, "Go talk to Divish. I'm telling you, you will be filled in."
I look at Davos like,
I mean, you heard him. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go find them.
I already don't like this guild.
Uh,
Bunch of witchcraft.
So as you step by, the Dragonborn calls out to you, and he says, "Oh, by the way, I have to ask you, what's your weapon of preference?"
That's a me.
Yeah, out of character, he's asking you, what do you have on your character sheet? But in character, what's your weapon of preference?
I prefer a nice long blade.
Oh, Daddy.
Great sword.
He nods his head.
Oh, a nice long blade. I think we can arrange that.
Come into my room.
Let's unzip the
He nods his head and then looks at the other two, the elf and the gnome, and asks you the same question. What do you prefer for weapons?
I hold out the pole I'm holding and I just kind of look at it. Well, either an actual one of these or a scimitar is fine with me.
He nods his head, and he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out what looks to be like a bag of coins. And he steps over to the human that has now followed you guys inside and hands it to him. And he says, "Go visit the armorer and the weaponsmith and bring them back these things."
As he goes to walk away, I'm like, and some nice plate armor.
He looks at the bag and jingles it, and he says, "I'm going to need a lot more than what I have here."
I'll need about
The old
3 things.
Dragonborn's
I hand him the great.
Dragonborn scouts. It's not a great axe; it's just a regular battle axe.
Battle axe. Sorry, you can sell that.
It's okay. He looks at the old beaten up and worn guard weapon, and he says, "I'd likely get a copper for this."
Fine, I'll keep it. Asshole.
The old Dragonborn says, "Go, talk to Divish. We'll get your things."
All right. Is there any food with now? Now Nadar is hungry now that he knows they're on the way. Cinnamon roll that he can grab on the way down.
So,
Yeah. Do you just like want to swipe it off of somebody's table, or do you like go looking for some food?
I'm gonna be like, hey, do you mind if I have this? I'll get you one later.
The
Persuasion.
guy sitting at the table. The guy. Yeah. Go ahead and roll a persuasion check.
Jesus Christ.
16.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah. He shrugs and he goes like, "I actually wasn't gonna eat it. You can have it."
Oh, thank you. I'll take it and I split it and I give half to DJ.
hey, I take it.
Don't encourage him.
So
I look at
you see that
sorry.
when you crack it open, it's still steaming and warm, and it's incredibly soft. When you take a bite, it tastes like it's got like a cinnamon seasoning to it, with like a honey butter on top of it.
God, that sounds orgasmic. I know what I'm making for breakfast Saturday morning.
Was that in or out of character, Don?
Let's say in character. It takes a bite.
Why not both?
That's orgasmic. Nadar feels somewhat safe. He can let his guard down and enjoy himself now.
I like slowly shuffle toward Davros.
I just glance at you and I don't know what that means.
I push him back towards Nadar.
I just
Oh,
look at that.
I'm coming too.
Same.
Oh God.
So you guys approach that bar up on the top side of the tavern, and you take your seats at the bar, and you see the gentleman in the picture approach you guys. The gentleman in the picture, if I did not describe him already, has a well-trimmed, pointed beard that kind of comes down and has like jagged points 3 times before coming to the actual front tip point. It's symmetrical on each side, so he's basically got like point coming out to a tip.
That's pretty impressive.
His beard it's incredibly well trimmed.
Yeah, that's a sick sounding beard.
I wish I could grow a beard like that.
The third type of beard I know of.
I wish I could grow any
Yeah.
facial hair.
That's like anime status beard is what that is. And he's got this nice beard grows up into a fine thick mustache as well, with pointed tips coming off the end of his beard as well.
Dude, that's what I can't grow.
And he's got full brown hair that is combed back over his head and slicked. He's got soft blue eyes. Then he grins at you as you guys approach, and he says, "Oh, I've been watching on the scrying orb. Glad to see you made it out alive."
Okay, out of game question. Has the whole fucking city been watching us? Like, are we like primetime news today?
Yeah, your execution was like public information to everybody.
Like, there's a hot air balloon scrying the whole chase scene?
Well, that big orb that was over the jailhouse was scrying the events of the jail for everybody else. It's a stationary orb, though. It's not following them across the city streets. Once they get out of range of it, it can't track them anymore.
Okay. It just felt like we're on fucking CNN or something, dude.
Nah, dude, you're obviously on Fox, and that's why
Yeah, you're right.
this giant and that's why they can't follow you anymore. Is because they can't show the gruesome events that are happening.
Ron Burgundy is just
Which is just
is like narrating the whole thing.
Rod Burgundy.
We're being labeled as terrorists.
You hear it? Like, I love scotch. Scotch.
so. Divish looks at you guys and grins and introduces himself and says, "Can I get you any food? You look like you're starved."
Absolutely.
I throw the last bite of cinnamon roll in my mouth. He says that.
So he gets you a couple rolls of that. He gets you a plate full, about half a dozen of those rolls for the 3 of you, and he sets down a plate of sausage and a plate of like these freshly made eggs. There's only about 6 eggs on there.
I eat a
They're
nice.
all
Are they medium rare eggs or whatever it was?
yeah, they're all medium rare.
Yeah, they're medium rare.
Got a little runniness to them.
Ian,
DJ,
I'm gonna
just
ask
leave,
that
like-
in character.
They play the
Are
medium
these eggs medium rare?
Podcast episode. What's the episode name? Medium rare eggs.
Medium rare eggs.
Are these
There
eggs
we go.
medium rare?
Medium rare. Write it down, Kyle. Write it down.
Right there.
Where the hell's that trash can? By medium rare eggs.
Okay, but in all seriousness, they're over medium, which is like
So,
That's like the medium rare equivalent of eggs.
Yeah, pretty much. Same thing.
over medium eggs are so good.
Oh, absolutely.
I think eggs are
Anyway, so
Over-
when you sit down on these bar
over-
stools, you notice that the actual legs of the bar stools are sculpted to look like the serpentine dragons that like the Chinese dragons look like, and the actual feet are the dragon's mouth opened up and mauled out onto the ground.
Neat.
That's really cool.
And the actual table you're sitting on is not the table. The bar you're sitting on is like a handcrafted oak table with a mural painted on it of what looks to be like a great battle being fought. It's just like hundreds of soldiers are make the base of it, and up top, closer to the bartender side of the table, and all of it faces you, so you can see it. But up closer to you on the bartender side, you see what looks to be like two great dragons fighting each other, dueling in the sky. You see a stream of fire carved into the oak, and a stream of lightning carved into the other side.
Okay, if this was a real fucking bar, I think I'd visit it every day.
Absolutely.
So at home,
I ask him about the mural and I ask him if there's like some sort of story behind it or whatever.
He looks at you and he grins and he says, "Oh, it's nice to have someone take some interest in guild history." Yes, that is actually a mural depicting the Elvish Uprising and the birth of this guild. Are you familiar at all with the Elvish Uprising that happened roughly 400 years ago?
Slightly.
I just shake my head no.
He tilts his head and looks at the elf, the obvious elf, and goes, "What about you?"
I mean, it is kind of my people's history.
He looks at you and says, "Were you in attendance by chance?"
No.
He nods his head and he says, "The elves of Corinthar." He goes into a bit of a expositional dialogue. The elves of Corinthar rose up against the empire that was only but a fledgling empire, well before even the current emperor Zabarak's reign was. He kind of like looks off, trailing into the distance, and he says, "Before it became an issue." I digress. The elves of Corinthar rose up against their dragonborn masters, and it is said that they brought fire and ice to battle the lightning that is the tactics and the warfare that the empire used. The dragons are a metaphor, obviously, but if you can tell, the elves won the fight, and this mural depicts what happened here, so that we may be reminded that no tyranny may rule over us for long.
Well, it's a very beautiful piece of art.
He says, yes, my sister carved it. She's quite talented. May God look down upon her and smile." He looks back up. "Sorry, I like to think of Balthasarus as being a just dragon, but he's in a interesting place right now as far as worshippers go."
How so?
Well, I don't know if you've heard or not, but his worship has been outlawed.
I've heard.
Yeah, it's kind of making it tough for those of us who've been devout our entire lives. As you guys are eating your meal, the front door opens and the rest of the group enters in.
Oh, thank God.
Oh,
I throw a cinnamon roll.
Hello there.
And where were you guys?
what
Not-
do you mean? Where were we?
I'm just gonna
Egg with a cinnamon roll, by the way.
Not taking an arrow,
point
that's
an
for
arrow
sure.
on the bullet.
You guys look like hell.
Dude, yeah, I took an arrow. It hurt.
Well, if y'all didn't all miss, you probably wouldn't have got trapped behind that gate.
Hey, you know what? Shut up.
Did I say that?
I'm just gonna walk up and grab a cinnamon roll, not hearing any of that.
Alright.
The,
So what are we doing here? Obviously, thank you for breaking us out, but what are we doing?
I've been asking the same thing, and all I've gotten so far was the story themselves.
So Divish examines you guys, and he says, "Let me get to the point, then I suppose." He turns around and he pours himself a mug of ale out of one of the tankards, and he takes a sip and he says, "Let's see."
I stand
Need to
up
do
to
something.
also pour myself some.
He puts a hand up and he pours it for you, asking you not to step across the bar.
Nadar's looking for some milk.
Something akin to milk.
Do you,
Yeah,
have,
a glass of milk. I'll drink.
do you have any wine?
We're
Uh,
getting information, and we're getting
he-
so
he-
about the drinks.
Dude, it's like 10 in the morning.
You're right. I'll have
It's been a rough day, man.
Yeah, so he actually makes everyone their beverage. Eric, the wine you find is very odd tasting. It's spicy and sweet as opposed to the typical bitter wine.
That's a good wine.
Yeah, that's actually more akin to what medieval wine probably actually tasted like because it was fermented differently.
I'll buy it.
Anyway, he tells you guys as he sits down and he puts meals in front of those of you who hadn't eaten yet. He says, "So, I need to do something real quick." And he pulls out like a little medallion out of his pocket. He sets it down and he's like, "I need to cast a spell for 2 reasons. I need to make sure that none of you have been tracked here, and I need to see what's been done to your minds. I hope you don't mind."
Oh, please tell us. Yes.
No, by all means, you have my full
You don't mind
cooperation.
telling me what's been done to my mind.
I mean, you're just
DJ,
gonna find
he figured out all of that.
you're just gonna find out about
So,
this
he
cranky
takes-
spirit, but that's it.
So he reaches down and he grabs the medallion's head and rotates it, and the center color of the medallion, which is a gold medallion, intricately laid with some interesting like leaves molded into the gold work that kind of like rim the actual medallion, and the center of it is solid with a gemstone in the center that looks to be like a ruby, but when he rotates it, it changes color to what looks like a sapphire. And it blinks a couple times before glowing, and the glow disappears. And he says, "Yeah, it looks like they have no idea where you are. I'm not sensing any kind of magical tracking on you. Looks like the scrying orb was doing just that, only scrying on you in that one location." Once again, he rotates the thing, rotates the center of the medallion, and it changes to an emerald color. And it flashes and repeats that. To those of you who are interested, you may roll an Arcana check.
I would like to.
I don't
Never mind. It's a 4.
17.
I would also like to.
Rolled an
17, huh?
Rolled an
You rolled an 18, Swank?
No, hold on. I'm about to roll.
Okay. What did you roll, Eric?
8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I rolled a 13.
All right. So the only one who knows this is Amnon. Amnon, you realize that he's cast a detect magic spell that is specifically looking for a specific type of magic.
Cool. Do I know what kind of magic he's looking for specifically? What school?
Alteration.
Alteration.
It looks like that they've cast a mind blank on you, he says. They wiped away the past 48 hours of information from you.
That's why
Sounds about right.
That's why we've been feeling like we have
That
this
sounds
killer
about right,
hangover.
That would
He, looks at
explain
your
why I
chest.
don't remember the last 2 days.
He looks at your chests and he says, in addition to that, he sighs and he says, "That's interesting symbol you have there. Any of you tattoo freaks at all?"
I mean, I like tattoos, but I don't remember getting this one.
Personally, I feel as if they're a mark of the devil.
I mean, there was
As
this
is-
one time when
as
I
a-
was drunk, but
As a devil, I feel like it's a mark of me.
Nadar shows
No, not you. The big guy.
Oh.
He Divish cocks an eyebrow and he's like, I don't want to be a dick or anything, but like, can we not talk about he sighs. He's like, can we not talk about Godric here? I feel like invoking his name is not a good thing.
Probably for the best.
Well, it's been invoked.
If you say his name 3 times, he'll appear.
God, please no.
Godric.
Anyway, he says, yes, well, that, he points at one of your chests. He says, that is more like a tattoo, but definitely also kin to a birthmark. He looks up, this time more serious. He says, you all have dragon blood.
Da-da-dum, 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 dum-dum-dum.
Well, this
Well then.
is
Nadar's mind is blown. He's just like, what? Really me? And he kind of looks around the table and he's like, I don't see it.
So wait,
Divish looks
That
at
means-
Nadar and he says, look, if you don't want to take this seriously, that's fine. He says, and he looks at you and goes like, but that's not just a birthmark that's like signifying that you have dragon's blood. It's a seal. And at any point in time, it could just end your life. They've cursed you. And effectively, until you get that removed from you, they know that you have dragon blood and can magically end your life with a command word.
Or why haven't they done that?
He says they were trying to, but I sent someone to stop them, as I suspected that. He kind of pauses and looks at Nadar. They had something interesting.
how can we get rid of this?
Okay, next question. Did we really do that shit last night?
And where's the closest tattoo removal shop?
He says, well, the ink doesn't simply come off. It's a curse. But additionally, I don't think that you actually did that the other evening. I think that they fabricated that.
well, yeah. I mean, I can't even wild shape at all, much less into an alligator.
I mean, I can
Yeah,
put my finger in front of
on the thing.
I look at Watt and I was like, can anybody at your temple remove a curse?
Maybe. I've never been cursed to have to find out.
Solid plan.
Divish looks at Nadar and he says, no, that's a good thought. What, are you local?
Town right outside the capital, yeah. So kinda.
And he says, that's a good place to go lay low. They won't expect you to go there, and they certainly won't expect you to go to a clerical temple and try and get that removed. There might be somebody within your convent or with your abbey that can actually do something like that. That's where I recommend you go. We're getting you items and some equipment to travel, but I suggest you leave town as soon as you can, while they still suspect you're here.
Should we
That's fair.
rest up a little bit and leave under the cover of darkness?
He scratches his head and he says, "Yeah, if you want to stick around, you're welcome to stay here for perhaps the remainder of the day. But I wouldn't recommend waiting too much longer than that."
Do y'all have like a safe way out of the city?
He says, "Oh yeah, absolutely. we wouldn't exactly be how would I say it, as good as we are at working with the Cardingar if it wasn't for the fact that we had this little puppy." He reaches up underneath the bar and he taps what looks to be like a small little lever, and the bar like next to you shudders and sinks down at the end of it, and you see steps leading down to what looks to be like a hidden basement compartment.
Oh, fuck yeah.
There's the Cardingar. I look at him, I was like, oh yeah, the Cardingar. Yeah, those people.
Yeah.
Good guys.
I turn to Watt and I'm like, hey, are they going to be accepting of, this
Probably not.
at your place of worship?
I mean, I'll talk to him. It'll be fine.
Look, if we get 5 of the 6 curses removed, I think that's a pretty good win right there.
But
Nah,
hey,
we worship all gods at my temple, so we should be fine.
Okay.
So at this time, Divish says, "Why don't you go down into the basement after you finish eating and wait there? We'll bring your equipment in as soon as he gets back."
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
Sounds like a plan.
You have a large, empty book. Pretty big, like that big and about like
He
that
says,
big.
"He says you'll have some time to write down your spells again if you must need. We will get you a new spell book. I don't think we can get your original one."
Yeah, that'd be nice if I could.
But you'll have to roll your spells at random. Sorry.
All that work.
he rolls to a hit, and then he rolls like a d10 to decide what random spell he does.
Fast.
Eric, your class has changed to wild
Magic, but worse.
Yes, Eric, your class has changed to wild magic sorcerer now.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm down.
No, wild magic wizard stuff.
Wild-
Wild magic sorcerer, but without the good parts.
No, he's just changed his school to conjuration now. But all he can really do is shout really loud things, and people show up and tell him to be quiet.
Sounds about right.
it's my worst nightmare.
All right. So they after you guys finish eating, you descend into the basement. You notice that the basement actually has a nice actual furnished basement with like a big carpet set across the the big flagstone floors, and there's like a small little fireplace with some nice armchairs and some ottomans and like an actual library with books to read.
Nadar just collapses on that rug.
yeah, I want to read books.
I actually
books?
I do too. Like I was gonna go up.
Nerds.
I was gonna go up and see what books they had.
Yeah.
So they've got an arrangement of books, and they're all categorized, and then further categorized into alphabetical order. So you'll have things on like the history of the empire, the history of the guild, but then outside of that, they'll actually have some information on like different events in the area, as well as like current event news, like actual like not newspapers, but articles written about things that have currently been happening in scroll work, as well as a couple of different informations on some like trade networks, and then finally, and probably the largest section is an encyclopedia section that greatly details the construction of the city and the networking of the actual tunnel system that you'll be going into, as well as like a geographical map in one of the encyclopedias of the country.
How much time? Like how much could I read? How many pages?
So the guy gets there in about an hour, so you can probably flip through one book each.
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna be looking at that map.
I'd probably end up.
Give me an
reading about-
intelligence check.
You're looking at the map, Eric.
Huh?
I'll probably.
Yeah, Eric is looking at the map. Do you want to look at it with him or what?
I think I would probably go and if he's looking at that, I'll probably look at the history of the empire.
Okay, both of you give me intelligence checks.
Oh, Nate.
An 8. Okay.
You just want intelligence and just an intelligence check.
Yes.
Okay. Not a saving throw, right?
Yeah, not a saving throw, just an intelligence check.
22. It's a nat 20.
All right, Zach, I'll have to PM you on everything that you learned from that book. You get a wealth of information. Dejo is apparently a very studious learner and must have photographic memory or something like that.
I worked at the library, for God's sake.
Eric, you spend some time trying to read through the book, but the majority of the book is actually written in Draconic.
I speak Draconic.
But here's the deal: is that it's written in Draconic, and it's not necessarily your native language, so you do wind up spending some extra time, kind of like reading through some sections over and over again because it's all handwritten stuff.
Okay. Well, I mainly just want to like look at these maps and kind of like familiarize myself with as much of it as possible.
You'll hear the door.
You basically you can look at it and you can get all the major landmarks that are clearly written and marked, but you don't pick up any of the nuances or any of the smaller things off of reading the maps.
Okay.
So you familiarize yourself with the countryside, but you can't really get much else out of that with an 8.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Anybody else going to be doing anything else?
I'm just going to be kneeling and praying.
The door snoring.
Yeah, I'm
All
just gonna
right.
be trying to relax and shake off all of the shit that happened.
Amnon is sitting in the corner with his eyes clouded over, and you can tell that he's kind of muttering to himself. I'm in a conference call right now.
All right. So after a short amount of time, or really like an hour or so, a guy comes downstairs and has about 3 trunks worth of stuff and opens it up, and he gives you guys all of the equipment that you've been missing. So all the armor that you were initially wearing, all the weapons that you initially had. Dejo, he gives you they give you 60 arrows, by the way, Dejo.
Okay. All right, so that means I have 64 arrows. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Dejo, they didn't bring you any. They brought you an extra dagger, but that's about it.
Okay, so now I have 2 daggers.
Mm-hmm. So they bring my new spellbook, right?
Yes.
All right. I forget the maps, or I don't forget them. I just toss them aside and I just start working on recopying my spells.
How do you copy that in the lobby?
It's all up in here. It's all up in the head.
I doubt it.
All right. So, I believe that this is actually an excellent stopping point. We're also out of time, so this is actually perfectly fine because you guys are going to have to exit town. There'll be no conflict in the catacombs. You guys basically just beeline out of there. But you guys will have to go and purchase horses. They've given you money to do so.
Oh my! Can I purchase the dragon?
Sounds good.
How much
All right.
money?
And when I say they've given you money, they've given you vouchers.
Yeah.
I reclaim mine for a guard dragon.
Got some Groupons.
Yeah, some Groupons.
Basically.
All right, so unfortunately we're out of time, and that makes for episode 2 of the Black Hand campaign.
Hey,
Thank you so much for listening to Your Daily Dungeon, presented by Your Daily Nerd, powered and produced by Mr. Calvaveros here.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and catch us next week for episode 3.